Okay, so Harfoots. What are the Harfoots up to? I think we're done with the. I know you.
I mean, I don't even know. So we left them at the Grove, and they were heading. I guess they go back to that place they were at the beginning when we first saw them.
Yeah. Now I'm fine with a lot less Harfoots going forward. That's me personally.
I think we're mostly done with them. We'll have Nori and not Gandalf. I don't think he's Gandalf.
Yeah, Nori and that wizard guy, who happens to know a lot of Gandalf phrases.
We might get some Poppy. Maybe we'll see Poppy become leader of the Harfoots.
So I think eventually, if they do continue with the Harfoots, they eventually get them to settle down in what is known as the Shire. That's my, I think that's the end goal for the Harfoots. I just don't want there to be that much of it. Like they can literally just have a few scenes every episode or whatever where they're just like discovering Hobbit things. Like that's all. Like it doesn't need to be anything crazy. It can just be kind of funny. Like they're, they really like potatoes. How about that? They discover potatoes and they're like, oh man, potatoes are awesome. There you go. There's your scene. And we move on. I know it's a meme. I know. But what else am I going to do with this meme group? Like that's all they are. Like you cannot write serious content for the Harfoots. You just can't do it.
I mean, they move. So I'm getting feedback. Oh, it's a little better now. The Shire is in Eriador, like the kingdom that was. So maybe the hobbits move there once the Númenóreans establish that as a kingdom, and they bring the hobbits under their protection.
I just always assumed that
they moved there after it collapsed.
No, I assumed the hobbits were kind of like always there and nobody noticed them.
Maybe.
Like there's just so much land that nobody had ever like gone to the Shire. Like they had just always walked around it, and they didn't know that in the middle of this like vast wilderness was like a little town. That was like my sort of thought on that. But either way, like I don't want a bunch of stuff with the Harfoots. And like you said, if we are gonna have Harfoot like Poppy leading the Harfoots, and we're gonna have Nori and the wizard, like that's already too much.
Maybe Adar could be deposed somehow. Like he doesn't die. He ends up going to hiding the same way Sauron did. And then Adar goes to live with the hobbits, and he teaches them compassion. And then they become
No, Adar is dying. I'm sorry. We can't have this.
Adar teaches the Harfoots about compassion and how to treat your dead mom.
We can't. The Adar teaching people how to treat their dead properly. No, Adar is dying. He has to. Like, we cannot have this character walking around. It's an abomination. Orcs are the villains. We can't have like an orc Moses running around making us feel good about the orcs. He has to die so that the orcs can fulfill their true potential to be truly a villainous scum group. Okay, we cannot have Adar around. He has to die. As to your point,
he dies protecting the hobbits from I don't know who.
I think Poppy has a better arc to change the Harfoot ways, and like we're not gonna just leave people behind because you did that to my family. They were like trapped in like a snowbank, and you guys just abandoned them there. So we're not doing that anymore, and we're not gonna make fun of people when they die. We're gonna have a proper ceremony. We're not gonna say they're idiots for getting left behind. So I just want the Harfoots to kind of be just like comedic relief, just like kind of a bit of a flavoring. But I don't want big story arcs involving Poppy. Like, you know what I mean? Like she can just be elected as the new leader, or however they do it, and that's it. She finds a place to settle down. She's like, no more traveling. It's too dangerous. People keep getting left behind. We're gonna stay here forever. That's it. Nori and not Gandalf. What they're going east. I don't. what am I supposed to do with that? Like, what are I can literally see it going multiple ways.
I mean, that'll be interesting because we'll get to see a whole new part of Middle Earth.
If they make it
culture, a new culture even. Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Are we gonna see Treebeard in this? Is Gandalf? I mean, not Gandalf. Is not Gandalf gonna meet up with Treebeard at some point, or at least an Ent that we can then kind of have a parallel to Treebeard and Gandalf.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we see, like, we saw Ents during both in the trailers, but also in episode 1 of the meteor, right, crashing down to Earth. We saw Ents looking at that. So we know that they're there. I mean, we know they're there, but like the audience also knows they're there. So I think it's a mistake not to use them at that point. Like, that's like, they're traveling east. They're gonna pass right through Fangorn Forest. It's perfect. So that's what I see going on in season 2 with Nori and not Gandalf. And I think that just about leaves the humans. And we kind of already touched on them.
They go to that little delta.
Yeah.
That used to be a Numenorian colony.
Yeah.
But
does Galadriel kind of like rally them to charge back in and kill Adar, or do they start establishing like another region there? Like, I'm not really sure what, like, is there a story there? Like, I know we have characters there, but is there a story, especially now that Halbrand is gone? I guess they got Theo, so I guess we can kind of follow Theo and see.
We have Theo and Bronwyn and Arondir being a happy family right now, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we just leave it like that. It's like a happy ending to one of these.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting at. Obviously, we all believe Theo is going to turn,
because he's already showing signs of being easily corrupted.
Yes, yeah. and I think if you are correct in that Sauron has already gotten to Mordor, he can easily get to that like the human colony, and he can pretend he's still Halbrand, and maybe at that point Theo joins him or whatever. Yeah, it's I kind of want there to be a happy ending there between this elf human couple, but how does it work? I just don't see it. Like, I feel like at the very least Theo getting corrupted is going to be sad, and maybe one of them dies. Like, I don't know how you keep them together if Theo gets corrupted, because his mom's running after him, and
you think about it, they probably need to kill Arondir.
Yeah.
Because think about how elves are immortal.
Yeah.
Why don't we see Arondir in
Yep.
the Third Age? Just because he's died somehow. He had to have died.
Yep. And that potentially is what corrupts Theo. Because Theo is starting to really... Like, Theo started out kind of hating Arondir, and he has grown to kind of see him as a father figure. Like, we saw at the end of... I guess it was like episode.
But they don't
7.
need to kill him. They could like throw him in with the blue wizards, like he's in the far east or the far south.
You really don't want to kill these characters off. There's a part of me though that I agree with you, but there's a part of me that realizes that, like, without the death for Boromir and Theoden, the characters they didn't need to die, but just based on how the characters made choices and how they were perceived after their death, like, without the death, they do kind of you do kind of lose something with those characters. Like Boromir and his his tragic sacrifice. Without that, Boromir is missing a huge part of the character that we know, and so
maybe we could see Arondir do a Boromir like sacrifice protecting
Theo.
Bronwyn and Theo or something.
And maybe it's at the hands of Numenor, so then, Theo joins Sauron to fight. I don't know, like just whatever it is, Theo has to get corrupted, and I think that it makes sense to kill off his second father figure again.
What do you
Almost
think
like a
happens
double...
to? I know we're going back, but we like this guy. So what do you think happens to Waldreg?
Oh man, I mean, I really hope this guy gets a high up position in Sauron's army, like maybe Mouth of Sauron, maybe. Maybe he can become one of the ringmates.
I know the Mouth of Sauron's supposed to be a Numenorian, like a black Numenorian.
Ah, darn. Okay. Well, then we have a spot for.
They could retcon that though. It's
True.
Waldreg now.
True. I really like Waldreg. I think, it's unfortunate that we're not going to get to see him in his native inhabitant. Like he was just an owner of an inn. I really thought that was like he played that part so well. He made me want to go to that inn. At this point, he is comedy relief. Like he's literally just there to like be the only human in a world of orcs, where he's like, "What do we do now, orc friends? Like I'm a fellow orc too," and like he's the only human. Now, what he could do is he could help corrupt or harm the human colony. He could maybe escape from them, or maybe he's like a spy he's sent over there to like infiltrate the humans and be like, "Hey, I escaped these orcs. I realized they were bad," and now he's pretending to be a good human, and he's really just reporting back to the orcs. I hope we see more of him, but I just don't see him being that involved, especially if they don't show Adar as much.
Maybe we'll see Theo. Theo craves the sword, so he sneaks back into Mordor to try to get the sword back.
I see. And he asks Waldreg where it is, and he's like, "It's in that mountain." I put it. It's a key, you fool! It was a key all along. Yeah, I don't know. Like the character I wish had a bit more of a like. He was a serious character prior to the orcs being more involved, and then at that point, he was kind of comedy relief after the big sacrifice scene, which I still don't quite understand, but that's a different topic. So yeah, I think he like we gotta lose a bunch of these characters, not like death wise, but just like we can't follow them all. Like I don't think we're gonna see much of the King of the Elves like anymore, right? Like we barely even see him here.
No, you have to see more of him though, because he's the one who kills Sauron. In the movie actually kind of.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
The Jackson kind of made it out that Isildur killed Sauron,
yeah.
But like I think in the actual canon, it's why do I forget what is the King of the Elves' names?
I forget.
High King Gil-galad.
Yeah,
right.
Gil-galad.
Gil-galad. Gil-galad and Elendil kill Sauron, but they both get killed in the process, and then Isildur just kind of picks up the scraps after.
Oh. Well, if we go by movie, then all I need is Isildur to talk with Halbrand / Sauron to add to that. But if you're going by books, then Elendil, someone we haven't talked about. That character better not be taking a step back. That character is the best character right now. Maybe Elrond as well. I kind of really like Elrond too. But Elendil is killing it. Like now he's depressed because he thinks his son's dead. So hopefully he doesn't take a huge step back and like regress into like a nothing character. But yeah, that's interesting. I personally like Gil-galad was barely in this, and how much more? Like obviously the elves are gonna make more rings eventually. I just don't get why, because these rings were to help the elves survive. Why are they going to make more rings? I just don't understand now.
Well, Celebrimbor wants to. Celebrimbor, I guess. I mean, I'm making stuff up, but I'm guessing he just likes the dwarves and he likes the humans and he wants them to have rings too.
I get a feeling. I mean, you know how I feel about this Celebrimbor guy, but it's not the character in the books, the actor and character in the Rings of Power. I think this character and actor, I just don't like it. But he kind of has the sense that he just likes building stuff. So maybe he like just keeps building rings or making rings and like just enjoys it. And how does he get corrupted though? Like at what point is Sauron coming back to like pour in some corruption juice or whatever he's got to do to corrupt?
I don't know.
Like because I always understood it to be Sauron had a hand in forging the rings for the humans and the dwarves.
The elf one was separate though.
Yeah. Now
That's
here.
why they weren't corrupted.
Yeah. Now here.
And the dwarves resist the corruption. The dwarves aren't corrupted by the rings.
Right, because their corruption just makes them more greedy, right? It doesn't actually like turn them evil. It just makes them more selfish and greedy, which they already kind of seem to be from the show. But they're not that bad because Durin is actually pretty.
But I think even the humans, like the corruption's not instant. It takes them, like going from being a human king with a ring of power to becoming a ring wraith is the process of several hundred years. It's not like they became evil ring wraiths
like
day one.
You don't put it on and then like boom, you're invisible and an evil ring wraith,
Yeah.
and you can't take it off.
So I mean we talk about, we're going down a different road, but we talk about Bilbo showing resilience for the ring, having had it for 60 years. He actually didn't have it that long in the scheme of things.
No.
Because I think it takes hundreds of years for you to actually be converted to a wraith.
True. Now, the thing, though, is that is the one ring, and we saw with other people just being nearby, it seemed to have some draw towards them. Like, even Gandalf, the way he rejects the ring, he's angry. Like, he it's hard for him to even, like, don't tempt me, Frodo. Like, he yells that. And it comes off as like he's thought about that, and the fact like he's been sitting close to this ring too long. He's already thought like, what if I take it? And like he knows that thought entering his mind is not him, it's the ring. And we see it with Boromir too. Boromir has a hard time. But you
think about it, the ring wouldn't want to be taken. Like the ring having a will of its own, it wouldn't want to be taken by Gandalf because the ring knows that Gandalf having the ring is bad for Sauron.
Well, yeah. So that, it's kind of the whole premise behind.
Maybe the ring reverse psychology Gandalf to not pick him up.
Well, okay, like so there's the joke version like that, but then there's also the version that and now this is obviously a lot of people debate this, and you can go see this all over YouTube. But the whole idea of the ring kind of wanting to be held by a human because the humans are the most corruptible, and its thought process, like you are pointing out, it doesn't actually want to go to Gandalf. However, I think a part of the ring does think the easiest way forward would be get Gandalf to put the ring on. Gandalf immediately takes me to Mordor to confront Sauron or whatever, and that's where we can maybe defeat. Obviously, I think we all agree Gandalf with the ring would beat Sauron. But then at that point, when Sauron is defeated, quote unquote, defeated and killed, he's still in the ring, right? Like a part of him is still in the ring, and then that ring corrupts Gandalf over time, and eventually Gandalf is essentially a pseudo Sauron, right? Like that's the idea. I wonder if the ring thought maybe that's a fine end goal.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
So I don't know how much of it is like wanting to get back to Sauron, like true form Sauron, or how much of it is like, oh, if I can just go to Galadriel, or if I can just go to Gandalf and become a Dark Lord through those means, that's probably good enough. Like, that's pretty good too. So I do wonder, like, because like you point out, the ring, if it wants to get back to Sauron, sometimes it's taking a bizarre route to get there. But I think ultimately it's just trying to get back to someone of power, and Gandalf is a powerful wizard. And so the ring thought, hey, maybe this is a way to either Gandalf can become the new Sauron, or Gandalf confronts Sauron or Saruman or whomever, and I get to be passed along to someone more powerful. But I think this particular ring, like you said, has a mind of its own, a will of its own, kind of. I do think it corrupts more speedily. And so I do wonder how long, like, so Bilbo held the ring, what do we think, 60 years? Maybe a little bit more. Would that have corrupted Boromir? I think yes. I think that
It would have corrupted Boromir before he got back to Gondor.
Man, this is not becoming a shit talk Boromir session. Boromir is
Boromir even said that.
Screw Boromir is the true son of Gondor. Boromir is great because he has weaknesses and recognizes them and wants to better himself. I am not going to slander Boromir, but yes, Boromir would have been corrupted before. Boromir was corrupted before they left Rivendell. He was already like, how can I get this ring? But okay, so someone like Aragorn. Aragorn resists this ring a couple times. Not obviously, it's not always obvious, because he kind of resists it at the Council of Elrond. He also resists it multiple times throughout their journey, and there's a point at which Frodo essentially offers it to Aragorn, and Aragorn turns it down. But Aragorn would definitely have also been corrupted by this ring if he had worn it for a length of time, I think. I know people are going to come at me now because they love Aragorn. Look, I love Aragorn too. I'm not like comparing Boromir, Aragorn, like all these characters. Like, Aragorn is great the way he is. In fact, I think Aragorn is one of the best representations of any type of heroic character that I've ever seen. Some might argue that he's a little too good. Like, he doesn't seem to have a weakness. He's almost like a Superman. I think his weakness is actually his own inner turmoil, so I do think he has a weakness. But we're getting sidetracked here. I just think that the ring, the one ring, is more powerful than these other rings, and so while the ring wraith stuff, it may take a while for that, I do think that the one ring would corrupt a lot of these beings a lot more quickly. We almost kind of see it corrupt Galadriel, and she doesn't even touch it. It's just kind of in front of her, and Frodo kind of offers it to her, and she almost takes it.
Yeah, and she quotes her old boyfriend.
Yeah. That's our new thing. Hey, we're gonna have a big Lord of the Rings party, and instead of our normal chit chat and quoting the movie as it goes, we're gonna just point out every time that Rings of Power has screwed this thing up. We're like, oh well. Look at those hobbits. They don't know what they're doing. They're supposed to be hiding, and they're supposed to be killing each other and leaving each other to die. And there's Galadriel talking about her old boyfriend again. That's why she doesn't want to go. That's why she doesn't want to help the Fellowship. They need a wizard. They need a guide. But she doesn't want to help because she doesn't want to get sucked into a new relationship with that guy. She's already married her whomever that guy is.
I can't go. Celeborn would be really jealous.
Yeah, I can't go. I have to stay home.
Celeborn talks to Galadriel. Do I need to worry about this guy?
Oh, didn't you want to go with him, dear? No. I'm worried that I might I might not come back. Because in place of a Dark Lord, they could have a queen. It's gonna be interesting watching these movies with you. That's for sure. Yeah, so that was a bit of a tangent.